How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Jake Reid as always, and today I'm bringing you another Hidden Gems video here on Madden 20. Today we're going to talk about quarterbacks. Please ignore Ben Roethlisberger up here at the top of the list. I chose to do this on the Steelers roster and didn't realize that I wouldn't be able to cut him because he is technically injured and out. So the list actually starts with Marcus Mariota up here at the top. Now this list is going to be a bit interesting because there's not a lot in terms of like the high 60 overall players in the quarterback position that are really going to be considered hidden gems here on the roster. There's a much wider variety of players spanning from, like I can show you here, Mariota to 78, all the way down to guys that are in the mid to high 40s. And really, all of these players are usable. I've personally used all these players, and I do just fine with them. But the one thing that I want you guys to focus on with the quarterback position is mainly the physical traits, and that's going to be a high priority whenever we're assessing hidden gems here, is that if you're trying to find a quarterback to be your franchise quarterback, or at least be a quarterback on your team for a while, they're going to have good arm strength and stuff like that, or good physical abilities to be able to actually, perform their job well. And I talk about this in every video. The physical attributes come first, and that's what you're going to see with a lot of these hidden gem quarterbacks. Now, a couple of other things to note in this list of hidden gem quarterbacks is these players have to be in like their second year at least, or they have to be, a player that has kind of failed where they're at and might get traded, or a player that is a free agent. And that pretty much only applies to one or two rookie quarterbacks that are on this list. We don't generally include rookie quarterbacks on our hidden gems list, but there are a couple, I believe at least one on this list. And the reason being is that they are technically free agents in the game that you'll be able to pick up for no cost. And so we're going to start off here with Marcus Mariota. Now, the reason Marcus Mariota is on this list is that a lot of people have talked, and there's a lot of talk around the league about how Marcus Mariota might not be the answer quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. He's had his shots. He's kind of had some success. He's also had a lot of failures. And, the team has a chance this year, but there's a lot of talk with him being potentially traded, and that's why I put him on this hidden gems list, because it's a player that you could make a solid argument that would get traded in a league. And so if you're playing a franchise, you could go to your commissioners and say, hey, there is a reasonable argument to be had here that Marcus Mariota could get traded, and so you could offer a fair trade in return. That's why he's a hidden gem. He's a 78 overall. He's the best player on this list. However, the things to note about him is that he has superb physical ability. He's got 88 speed, which is going to be, I believe, the highest on this list. And then in addition to that, he has good throw power. So if we go all the way over, 88 throw power, which is really good. And so he's just a good athletic quarterback, a guy that's still only 25 years old and could be a franchise quarterback. Still has a lot of room to grow, and I don't know that he will get traded by the Titans, but there is talk about it. So that's why he's on this list. And very similarly, Jameis Winston is on the list for the very same reason. However, Jameis Winston, there's a lot of talk about him getting traded if he fails this year, and for just reasons. I mean, he's been in trouble. He's not really performed very well when he's had his opportunities. He kind of looks like a bust at this point, or at least he's trending that way. But he has good physical attributes. Like I said, he's got 79 speed, which is really reasonable for a quarterback. That's, borderline scrambler type of ability. And then he's got 90 throw power, which is one of the stronger arms here in this list. And so doesn't require a lot of explanation. He just has the potential to be a good franchise quarterback, still only 25 years old, along with Marcus Mariota. So two guys that could potentially be traded in a lot of leagues. Now, the next one to talk about and discuss is Teddy Bridgewater. Now, this one gets a little muddied because of the fact that Drew Brees is injured. So if you guys are playing in your franchises and Drew Brees is injured, or you're intentionally holding him out because he's injured, then Teddy Bridgewater might not be a reasonable trade target. However, if he's the backup to Drew Brees, a 73 overall is one of the best backups in the league. This guy's a reasonable trade target, and if he proves himself in the NFL, he could get a starting job in the near future. Might even take over for Drew Brees in a couple years. He's only 26 years old. He's a very quick, agile, speedy player out of Louisville. He's got 82 speed, and he's got a decent arm. So if we go over and check out his throw power, he's got 84 throw power, which in Madden this year is, half decent. That 84, 85 range is kind of the minimum of what you need for a quarterback. And so he's a reasonable, athletic, scrambler, improviser type of quarterback, if that's what you're looking for. And he's only a 73 overall. You can trade him, you could trade for him for a reasonable price, and I think that would be a good deal. Moving down to the 60 overall players, and there's only 2 of them on this list, we have Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph for the Pittsburgh Steelers, backing up Ben Roethlisberger. Very similar situation to Teddy Bridgewater. Has a lot of potential as a quarterback. He's young, only 24 years old. Has some good physical abilities, good throw power. But the thing to note is that if you're in a league where Ben Roethlisberger is still this team's quarterback, you can go and trade for Mason Rudolph, being that he's a backup. You're going to be able to get him for a reasonable price. He's only a 66 overall, and he just fits that bill. He's a second-year player that has that opportunity to become a good quarterback. He's somewhat mobile with 76 speed, which is all you need, really, at the quarterback spot, unless you're looking for a true scrambler. And so that's why Mason Rudolph is on this list. And then we move to the rookie on the list, which is Tyree Jackson. Tyree Jackson is technically listed as a free agent right now in the roster. I don't know if that's accurate or not. They must have cut him in reality, or he's on the practice squad. I don't quite know. But Tyree Jackson's a guy that I loved coming out of this draft class. I thought he had a chance to become a starting quarterback somewhere, and I'm surprised that the game has him as a free agent, because that means he's probably a free agent in real life. He's only 21 years old. He's a 64 overall, so he has like the maximum amount of room to develop. That's the primary reason why he's on this list. But then the other things you have to consider is this guy is huge. He's 6'7", 250 pounds. 86 speed and 89 acceleration, 76 strength. This guy is going to be a freaking machine whenever you run the ball with him. He's going to be able to run over defenders, and I mean that. This guy has ultra physical abilities. And then the really nice thing to add on top of that is that his throw power is 95. He has insane physical abilities. If you can't build on this guy, you don't deserve to play anybody at quarterback. I mean, he is the epitome of a hidden gem in Madden. This is my number one guy on this list because he is so young, has so many physical tools. All you have to do is build on those tools by giving him better upgrades, and you'll be able to turn this guy into a franchise quarterback in literally no time at all. This is the number one player on this list, and if you're passing on Tyree Jackson, I'm sorry, but you don't know what you're doing. Tyree Jackson is going to be a phenom in Madden for people in franchises just based off his physical stats alone. Moving down the list is a guy that I liked a lot last year for the Giants, Kyle Lauletta. Now that they have Daniel Jones and Eli Manning, it's reasonable to assume that Kyle Lauletta could be on the trade market. At least in your leagues, you should be able to pick him up for a reasonably cheap price. Only 24 years old. Reasonable stats, 79 speed, decent throw power. So a guy at 58 overall that you could take and turn into a decent quarterback. I've personally played with him, and he plays really well. He's a decent size for a quarterback as well. So I personally like him quite a bit. We'll go ahead and move down to another guy that is a physical kind of beast, I guess you would say. Cardell Jones has the speed to be a really good player, but he also has that size I was talking about with Tyree Jackson. He is 26 years old, so a little bit on the older side, but he is 6'5", 250, and so you're talking about a guy that can really kind of run people over. And then on top of that, I believe he has a good throw power at 92 here, which is really nice to see. One of the higher throw powers, kind of a mini Tyree Jackson, if you will, slightly older, a guy that you could turn into a dominant kind of physical beast if you really wanted to. Now we get to the bottom of our list with 4 players here that are unique in their own rights. Nick Fitzgerald is on this list. He's another rookie that he's got decent size, got good physical attributes with the 84 speed. He has 87 throw power, I believe it was when I looked over there. So at 22 years old, this is a guy that you could develop into a starting quarterback. He's got reasonable stats, and he's young enough that you could develop him into something special. Another guy that I like is these two are kind of replacement level. Actually, all 3 of these are kind of replacement level players. I don't know that you'd ever be able to develop these 3 guys into a starting, franchise caliber quarterback. And the reason being is that their age, when matched up with their overall, doesn't kind of lend itself to that. they're 25, 25, and 24, but they're, you know, high 40s to 50s, you're going to struggle to get their overalls up enough to make them a quote-unquote franchise quarterback. But they are good replacement level players and guys that you could bring in, you know, to give a shot to and see if they could do anything. And so I'm just going to compare them all three at once. They all have decent speed, but Trevor Knight is really nice. He's a really mobile quarterback with 87 speed. And then Danny Etling with 81 and 77 for Hackenberg. So they are reasonably mobile quarterbacks. However, you're going to get into some stats here that are really interesting for some of these players, and that is the throw power. Hackenberg is a guy that has 87 throw power, which is on the higher end of the spectrum, and that's really good actually for a quarterback in Madden this year. So this is a guy that you know can make the throws. He's got decent size. It's just a question of accuracy with him. So a good replacement level player, kind of hidden gem replacement level player, a guy that you might not be able to turn into a starting quarterback in the long haul, but a guy that, you know, could be useful for you in the short term. Then Trevor Knight, his trade-off for having that pretty high mobility is his low throw power. So he's a guy that you'd be bringing in as kind of a basically a running quarterback, and you know, if you are just trying to bring in a guy that can be mobile and maybe make short throws, this is a guy for you because he's really mobile. He can, you know, juke people out. He can make moves and stuff like that. He's a reasonably athletic quarterback and could fill that role for you, even if just a backup to your regular mobile quarterback. Say you have Marcus Mariota, Trevor Knight would be a good backup for him because they have similar stats in terms of speed and athletic ability, so he's a hidden gem in order to back up at the quarterback position. And then Danny Etling has that 85 throw power that I talked about, that is kind of like the minimum of where you want them to be in terms of quarterback, so he has reasonable stats. Just a guy that I have noted that plays particularly well, and these guys fit into the bill that they're young enough that they can kind of fit in here, and you can get them for cheap. All three of these guys are going to be free agents in your leagues, and so they cost you nothing, and that's why they're hidden gems, because they rise above the other free agents because of their abilities in certain categories. So hopefully this list helped you guys out. Like I said, the number one player on this list by far and away is Tyree Jackson. If you guys can get your hands on Tyree Jackson, go snatch him up right now. Go to your franchises and look and see if he's available, because he is insane. I mean, this guy, you could turn him into a 99 in like 3 seasons. I mean, he's that good. I'm convinced that he is the best hidden gem quarterback, maybe the best hidden gem at any position in this entire Madden game. So like I said, hopefully this helped you guys out. If it did give you guys some ideas of what you want to do at the quarterback position, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel for more, and comment down below what video you'd like to see next, or you know, what position you'd like me to focus on next. Let me know in the comment section as well if you guys went out and picked up any of these players, or if you guys have any suggestions for me on hidden gem players. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you guys have a great night. See ya.